послушаем, а потом вернемся.
Редким развлечением шотландской.
And I think I hadn't really looked at f6. I had mainly concentrated on queen b4 after bishop g5.
После хода слон g5 я в основном я не ожидал хода f6, я больше считался с ходом ферзь b4 шах.
I looked at queen b4, but f6 is a very logical move.
Но f6 довольно логичный ход.
Yes. I think we played logically. I'm not sure if maybe I had a better option, but at some point the play became very forced.
Я не знаю, был ли у меня лучший план развития, но в какой-то момент пошли форсированные ходы.
After bishop d3, black can't play knight g4 because I can take on a7.
После слон d3, конь g4 невозможно, из-за слон бьет a7.
And if king b7, then I have h3.
И на король b7 промежуточный ход h3.
And I have an advantage.
С перевесом у белых.
The way he played it looked very logical to me.
То, что черные сделали, было довольно логичным.
White is pretty much forced to take the pawn, otherwise black has a very good position.
Белые должны забирать пешку на a7, иначе у черных просто бесплатная хорошая позиция.
I thought maybe it was more accurate to play here king d7, avoiding knight e6 check in some variations. For example, if here rook a8, a3, rook fb8, I don't have knight d4, knight e6 ideas.
Мне казалось, что король c7 не точность, что король d7 на 20-м ходу более четкий ход, чтобы остановить возможности, которые произошли в партии с слабостью поля e6. Например, в этом варианте.
The move he played also looked possible, but I didn't see a way for black to disturb me in any way or to get compensation for the pawn.
После король c7 я не видел достаточного пути для черных к уравнению, чтобы получить за пешку достаточную компенсацию.
There's many moves for black, but one of the critical ones is knight b4.
Критический вариант конь b4.
And here I should play rook b3.
И правильный ход ладья b3.
And if rook b8.
Если ладья b8.
Here I think a3 is simply bad for white because of.
a3 плохо из-за такой форсированной
this variation.
Комбинации.
But instead I think king b1 is quite.
Но просто после король b1.
Yeah, quite good for white. I don't see any ideas after this.
Отличная позиция. Непонятно что. Can you look at knight takes a2? Because that was.
Knight a2.
Да. Yes.
Well, I think after king b1 he has to play rook a8. And here I thought that many moves are good for white. I have ideas like knight g5 or rook d1, and bishop f4 is also looks quite strong.
We actually thought simply bishop d2, but I do rook e1 and just exchanging rooks.
Bishop e1, bishop d2 and rook e1.
You're threatening king c2 and rook a1, and rook a3, I mean.
Yeah, it's also possible. Maybe here he has c5 though.
Yeah, just king c2. Or rook a1 first, maybe. First and then king c2.
Maybe it's also good.
Yeah.
But I felt he can't put his knight on a2.
Ну, короче, конь на a2 стоит просто плохо. Для белых много путей к перевесу.
And after rook a4, well, okay, rook fb8 is of course, rook hb8 is
ладья hb8 более такой прямолинейный.
A very logical move, but here I think I have a good position with bishop d4.
Но здесь у меня перевес после слон d4.
And if knight f4,
если конь f4,
I thought even rook e3 is quite strong.
Просто ладья e3.
Take
взял,
knight g2, rook e7.
Ладья e7 шах.
I'm not sure how big the advantage is, but it looks.
Не уверен, насколько большой перевес, но явно перевес серьезный у белых.
After rook a4, I think rook e1 is a strong move.
После ладья e4, ладья e1, я думаю, очень сильный ход.
I have in some cases ideas like rook e7 in the future. And if he plays rook b8, I just play bishop d4 again.
И если ладья b8, то слон d4.
The key line is at knight f4, rook check, yeah?
Yeah, if knight f4, I have here king d8 and rook e3. And this is winning.
Ключевая линия, после чего белые или матуют, или выиграют ладью на b8.
At least knight d5. Well, no, then I just take on b8. Yeah, rook f8. He wanted to stop bishop d4 with rook f3.
f8 черные сыграли с идеей остановить ход слон d4, после чего ладья бьет f3.
But I think knight g5 is very strong now.
Я думаю, конь g5 очень сильный ход.
just kind of ruining his coordination, and if king d7, I have a strong move rook
После
d3.
король d7, ладья b3. Это ключевой ход, который дает белым большой перевес.
And it's not easy to stop rook b7. And after rook e8, I have this, I'm just trading rooks.
Я просто меняю ладьи.
And, well, in general, the more pieces I trade, better it
Чем
should be.
больше фигур я меняю, тем сильнее мой перевес с лишней пешкой.
But I felt like he could have played more accurately at this point, because
Maybe bishop h6.
well, bishop h6. Can I play g3? I think.
G3.
And I can maybe
The rook and pawn you sure about if he takes
rook ending.
E3. Yeah.
I think the rook ending should be good for me.
You come to b3, or if I take and
I don't have.
I just play f4, and I guess I'm not sure. Maybe it's objectively drawn, but at least it's always very unpleasant.
punishing.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can't really guarantee that you're going to win this
Гарантии
position.
выигрыша нет, но перевес большой.
So king d7, and
D7.
I think this is also a good move.
Ладья b3 хороший ход.
I was thinking about knight e3,
Я думал про конь e3,
rook
ладья
b7,
b7,
king c8,
c8, ладья g7,
rook g7, knight
конь
g2.
g2,
I wasn't sure after knight h7.
конь h7.
I mean, it seems like black has drawing chances, but
У черных есть шансы на ничью, но
it's always very unpleasant, of course. Also, I can, of course, take with the pawn again and play this position.
Можно также взять f и играть это.
Probably what I was going to go for.
Может быть, то, что я бы и решил сделать в итоге.
After king c8, bishop d2, I mean, it seems like I've just totally consolidated and I'm a clear pawn up.
Белые просто консолидировались с лишней пешкой.
And he even has some problems with his h-pawn, which, if h6, I just play knight f7, and I think he's losing a pawn.
Двойным ударом. С еще одной пешкой.
And he played h5, but this is clearly a concession. I mean, g6 is very weak.
h5 это еще одна.
And I always have a square for my knight on g5.
Теперь у коня место на g5 очень сильно.
So, well, maybe it wasn't necessary to play so actively. I mean, I could also just play f3, knight e4.
Я мог бы играть более пассивно, f3, конь e4, консолидировать свой перевес, но я сыграл активнее.
But I thought I'll force his knight back.
Заставляя коня вернуться.
And now I just planned king c2, king b3, and slowly pushing.
Просто план король c2, b3, и дальше пешка идет ферзи.
I mean, he played d5, maybe he could have played knight d5, but in this case I think I just play knight g3,
На конь d5 я собирался просто отойти конем на g5.
knight g5, knight e4, and f3, and I have a very
e4,
good
f3,
position.
король c2, b3, у белых очень хороший.
Objectively, maybe it's even winning at this point. So d5, king c2.
d5, король c2.
Yeah, I think this was important. Bishop c3.
Важный перехват, чтобы разменять слонов.
If he takes on a3, we get
Если
a knight ending, where I felt like I should be winning.
Ты не будешь перевыигранный, поэтому
so he played
не могут
d4.
брать.
But here I feel like it's already pretty much a decisive advantage.
Здесь, я думаю, уже перевес.
I'll put my knight on e4, play f3, and he's totally blockaded, and I can just start pushing my a-pawn.
Я могу просто коня на e4, пешку на f3 и полностью блокирую любую контр-игру черных, двигать пешку а ферзи.
But of course, there's still a lot of work that has to be done to win this.
Конечно, еще предстоит какая-то работа, но позиция.
And it was only here that he blundered.
И здесь он просто зевнул.
I mean, I was looking at some other moves on knight h4,
Например, конь
for example.
h4.
But I think here I can even take and play
Здесь я
knight
могу
c3.
взять конь c3, король e5, f4.
And knight engine should be winning with my a-pawn.
Пешка, все окончания должны быть выиграны.
But of course, he should have went for something besides knight e3, because here he just loses on the spot.
Здесь сразу выигрыш, потому что
Can you just show the final fork?
Yeah.
Если пешка не проходит, потому что после e2 конь c3 шах.
Thank you. Спасибо. Есть ли вопросы у представителей СМИ?
Any questions?
Пожалуйста.
Фабиано, вас не удивляют такие вот серьезные пертурбации, которые происходят последние два тура, как бы с лидерами? Мразевич три подряд проиграл, Крамник 2 подряд проиграл, и те люди, ну, вы в частности, как бы выходите уже в лидеры.
Are you surprised, Fabian, about this sort of sequence of events that's happening? Mrazevich lost 3 in a row, Kramnik lost 2 in a row. You're one of the leaders now.
Yeah, I didn't really expect this, but I felt like I have good chances going in today. I had some sort of optimism, but well, I'm just very happy with the result, of course. It's not every day that you beat a player like Kramnik so easily.
Ну, конечно, это не совсем ожиданно, не то, что я ожидал, я очень доволен этим. Не каждый день обыгрываешь шахматиста как Крамник так легко, как мне удалось в этой партии. Вот, так что удивлен.
С Крамником вы уже играли до этого?
Did you play Kramnik?
Какой счет?
Yeah, we played, I think 2 games, or maybe even 3. They were all draws.
Все ничьи. 3 партии.
Есть ли еще вопросы? Yes, thank you.
To keep what? Yeah, of course, he could have avoided Rook F8. It's only after Rook F8 that he's forced to.
Да, если бы черные не пошли ладья F8, то
No, in general, he's not.
разменить фигуры не
He could
обязательно.
have played some other move. No, Rook A4 looks normal, and maybe just Rook F8 is a mistake. But I'm not sure exactly what he's supposed to play.
Maybe B8 and maybe King D7 next one.
I mean, maybe he can go for something like this, but it's also pretty depressing for black.
It's just not enough comp.
And maybe King C7 was a mistake.
King C7 was a major mistake, as it turns out.
Может быть, король
It's not very
C7 была
obvious.
ошибкой. Спасибо. Есть ли еще вопросы? Any more questions? Thank you.